As promised, I will be sharing just some of the things that I've experienced in the journey of maternity leave or momternity leave, as I said earlier in an earlier post. I have my notes because my thoughts are like jumbled, so I'm going to be referring to some of my notes. So one of the things I said about maternity leave, or having your child and being on maternity leave, is that it can be a lonely and boring time. Mostly boring because the child is a baby. It does nothing but sleep, and you often running around between those cycles of sleep, wakes up, eats, change the nappy, go back to sleeping, wakes up 10 seconds later, goes back to sleeping, eats, nappy change. So it's a cycle of the same thing. It can be boring, and because you're not having a conversation with any other adult, it's just you and the baby, and it depends on whether you're going home. And even if you're going home, they often isolate you. You're in a room, you take care of the baby's vulnerable, the immune system, so they prefer having you in a room separately. And then if you're in your own house, still people can't come in and out because the baby's still young and vulnerable to a bunch of stuff that outside people can bring. Definitely people can come through, drop stuff off, but usually it's an isolated time where it's just you and figuring out the baby and trying to keep them alive for the first few weeks. Usually lasts about 3 months, depends on each person and each family. I think that's the boring and lonely part. You are by yourself, no conversations with any other adults. You sleep deprived because there's no schedule to a baby. They're erratic. They wake up when they feel like waking up, whether it's 10 seconds later, whether it's 40 minutes later, whenever. They cry for no reason, for a reason. I'm hungry, need a nappy change, or I'm cranky, whatever reason. It's just your world revolves around this little person. So yeah. And overwhelming, regardless of the mental state that, you started with in the journey of your pregnancy, and even by your delivery, you could have been the strongest mentally, but man, caring for a baby can be overwhelming and draining. And because you don't get breaks, and you're sleep deprived, it gets hectic mentally. Thank goodness for the village, that the people that are around to help where they can and make you food and tend to the home and while you take care of the baby. But even with that help, you can be overwhelmed by the baby crying and you don't know why it's crying. You just but bro, communicate. I'm used to words. Use your words. And babies don't use words. Unfortunately, they just cry. That's how they communicate. That's, they are communicating the way they know how. But because we don't understand their language and they don't understand our language, clash. And as much as you can be going in confident and I'm ready for this, it can be very overwhelming, mentally, physically, even spiritually. But I'll get to that part. Actually, maybe I should do it now. It can be overwhelming spiritually, in that because your world is surrounding this little person and keeping them alive, and you're breastfeeding this boob and that boob, and you often don't have time to spend time in the Word. You often don't have time to go to church, especially because of that isolation time. You're at home, you're isolated in a room, or in your house, isolated in the home, because the baby's still young and can't be exposed to, outsideness. Sometimes you can, backtrack. I'm trying to find a good word. I don't know a good word, but I'll just say backtrack on your relationship with God, like spending time with Him, not as in you being a believer, no, just the spending time with the Lord part. Because I remember like the whole, not all of it, but the harder the more the pregnancy progressed, and the harder it became to spend time with the Lord because of exhaustion, because of juggling work and trying to use all your strength just to keep food down because you're vomiting this. And till today, after giving birth, still there's like, I find challenges in spending time with the Lord. But in all of this, in this whole journey, I'm grateful that one, the Lord did not give up on me. There was so much grace extended to me, by the Lord. There was like peace about that the Lord is with me the entire time, even though I couldn't show up and be with Him on that quality time. And sometimes all I could do was just say, Lord, like a silent prayer underneath my breath, like, Lord, I can't do this today. I cannot do this today. Sometimes I had no strength to even pray. I just said, Lord, please hear my heart. And then there's other times I have energy and I'm praying and I'm like, oh Lord, and I'm in the word. And then like, that's like one day, and then like 10 days where I'm not in the word, but I managed to pray. Like I clung on to prayer a lot, and I'm clung on to people's prayers and people encouraging me and spending time sharing the word with me, going to church. That definitely, we went to church because that's where, the anchor is, where we get to stay grounded in community and not just be an island and isolated. So even though, I was going through whatever struggles and not being able to spend time with the Lord in His word, but man, there was encouragement backing me up, holding me up, friends, family. There was community, going to church. There was, managing that little prayer, that's like a speck of dust where you're like, oh Lord, I can't. And that's all you can't do. And that's all you could do today. The Lord, man, is so faithful. The Lord is so kind that, man, He took that and He just held on to me. So yeah, so as overwhelming as it can also get very fulfilling. I would not trade anything for this little boy that I have. He has come and changed my life in incredible ways. Sure, like I know already I'm an emotional person, but man, this has like tugged at my heart's emotion. It's not just like the physical tears, but my heart is just soft. And I look at that little boy and I'm just like, Lord, wow. And how amazing these little people can be, and how they grow in front of your eyes and learn different things, the milestones and whatnot. And just that mind blowness or that awe that, sure, Lord, you entrusted us with this life, with this little heart. Really? Are you sure? Because we kill plants, Lord. We kill plants. Are you really trusting us with this little life? And man, it's been just such an amazing, fulfilling journey of realizing that I'm someone's mother. And man, I'm entrusted with this little life to steward their heart. Oh man. So yeah. And just, man, it changes your life. Definitely. As much as this little life is changing in front of me and growing, suddenly they can move their arms, suddenly they can, lift up their head, suddenly whatever they can drew and make bubbles, or whatever they do, blink, and now they can see. It's a life-altering situation for them, but it's also a life-altering situation for me. I am not the same person that I was during my pregnancy. I'm not the same person I was before even pregnancy. I am a completely different person. I've been changed. Not completely different in the core values, but man, a lot of growth has happened. And my thinking patterns, I believe, are very different. And again, the awe that, yo, God, this was a grain of rice. This was once a grain of rice. A little sweet pea, like little dot in the uterus. Suddenly, it's a whole human today, with arms, with skin, with blood, with a head that can't hold itself up. Like, I'm mind blown by just God's creativity to knit my husband and I together to make this person who has elements of us, from how we look to our personalities and our genetics. Like, mind blown. Like, there are no words for that. And it's just, maternity leave or momternity leave has also been a time of bonding with this little one. They go fast, absolutely fast. Like, 1 minute this week they look like this, the next you're like, huh? Why do you look like that? Like, didn't I see you having 3 hairs? How do you have 5 hairs now? So it's I would not trade it for anything. Thank goodness for the organization I work for allowing 6 months, even, because the recommended is usually 4 months. But man, they went the further mile to just allow 6 months, and that's been incredible. Yes, I miss work, and it gets lonely because I have envy sometimes, when my husband wakes up, gets to dress up, and they get to get away from the situation and go to work and socialize with others. I envy that. I miss work, and I'm like, oh, I don't get to think like technical things. I also want to think, and why am I just home with the baby, But man, when you think about it, like, this time goes by so fast and you can't repeat it. This is priceless. You can't repeat this time. And often my husband also mentions that he would do anything to swap places and not be the one going to work, but spending time with this little one, seeing him grow, seeing the milestones, and man, just bonding with him, as hard as it is. It's not easy. It's not just sitting around and watching TV. You're literally running around raising a whole human. And, there's also things about, sleep when he sleeps. When he's sleeping, I'm running to wash bottles. I'm running to eat, make food to eat, because I know I have 10 minutes. 10 minutes before he wakes up. And then if I'm lucky, maybe 30 minutes. So yeah, it has been such a bonding time as well. And man, besides just the milestones and the bonding time, maternity leave or momternity leave has been a time for my body to heal. Like, I've had to get it through my head, because you want to snap back and have a figure and look thinner, or look like your former self. And I had to realize that, man, my body took a beating. Like, flip, I couldn't walk after giving birth, because that's how hectic this experience was. And for it to take 9 months to make a whole human, it won't take a month to heal. There'll always be something, crackling bones because it took calcium to build the child, sore midsection or whatever. It needs healing. And, I appreciate that maternity leave gives time for the body to heal, for the body to figure itself out, for hormones to figure out and balance out again, and, discover itself that, okay, how do I work now? Now this thing is not in my body, because now it has to produce milk, so it needs to now adopt a new task. So it's incredible. Like, so grateful for maternity leave because of all these things that are happening during maternity leave. It's not just about the baby, but the mother goes through a lot as well, and there's a lot of healing that needs to happen. So yeah, that is the story and the journey of my maternity leave or momternity leave. It's not perfect, it's not glamorous, but it's so worth it. It's so, I wouldn't change it for the world. I would not exchange this little one for the world. And yeah, man, for every woman who's going into maternity leave or on maternity leave or coming out of maternity leave, man, I hope you enjoy it. Enjoy it to the fullest. Take it in. Take in God's awe, the awe of God's creation in this little one. The thing that God did in you, using your body as a vessel. Like, that is huge. So yeah, man. I hope this was helpful to just share the part of me. And yeah.